Hey, what's up, guys? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Today, Saturday, May 21st, 2022, we got another edition of the Pocket Change Market Report to help get your weekend kicked off in the right way or right direction. I was trying to figure out which word to use, but hey, we'll go with both. This is going to be a little bit of an express report, not nearly as long. We got a little bit less coins. I wanted to get this delivered to you guys as soon as I possibly could today. But the coins are just equally as important, all right? There's going to be some new coins you can still find today. There's also going to be others as well that you need to keep an absolute eye on. Not specifically on any one denomination, but these errors, boy, I tell you what, they're all pretty much mint mix-ups and screw-ups and all that stuff. So we got to take advantage of that as, as time goes on. I'm pretty sure, in the foreseeable future, we're going to see the mint tighten up the quality controls a little bit, maybe implement new technology into the minting process and the creation of the dyes that, it's going to end up happening, boys and girls, and we need to be prepped up for that. So while all this stuff is out there, go ahead and get your fair share. All the coins are raw, ungraded. Don't even grade them. So it costs way too much money for the price point on some of these. Now, there will always be that one coin, right? That for whatever reason, why isn't this thing graded? Yeah, we'll talk about it once we get to, once we get there. But yeah, generally, don't grade your coins. These errors and varieties will sell themselves as long as you can properly attribute them. And furthermore, these are realized completed sales from the last 24 to, I would say, 36 hours. A lot of great stuff here. Let's go ahead and jump right in and get this going. Starting off with a coin that I've never personally talked about. The George H.W. Bush presidential dollar coin. It has never been on the PCMR, but this might be an opportunity for you guys to, search this thing out because these are out there and pretty crazy. Pretty crazy that these are out there. So yeah, this is a relatively new coin being sold by a new seller, zero feedback, but this is a good way to get it kicked off if you're looking to, sell some coins and get your business started on eBay. So this is a 2020. I believe this is the final year of the Presidential Dollar Series. It was kind of a lackluster series to begin with. But, a lot of these coins weren't even made for circulation. That time had come and gone around 2011, somewhere around there. And then for the years afterwards, the Mint produced them and sold them. You can only buy them from the U.S. Mint website. So what are we looking at here on this good old Georgie boy? Well, there's a few little die chips that are quite nice on here. You have this one here above the We and Trust. Right here. This is right around the bust area of the president, whoever that, Mr. Bush, obviously. And then we also have a couple little die chips here connecting the PNR and president. So, definitely want to look out for. As minor as it looks like, keep in mind this is something that people do like. They collect these by progression, and while the series itself is not well received in the collecting community, the errors are, and then there are going to be people that'll want to take a flyer on something like this with possibly expanding it into a much bigger collection. This one right here is sold for $18.95, so that's not too bad of amount of a return there. Keep an eye on a lot of these newer dollar coins. Even the new Native American dollars have come up with a few errors as well. So pretty cool. All right, so this next one that we have here is a 1960D Lincoln Memorial Cent. Now, the reverse of the coin is very well struck. However, if you look at the front of the coin, it's mushy as all get out. And this, believe it or not, and we've seen quite a few of these errors highlighted on the PCMR in the past, this is actually struck through a very late stage capped die. The die cap at this point is incredibly thin and stretched out. that it's able to push through all of the original design from the host die through the thin die cap and onto the coin. As you can see, you have a full date and mint mark. You can even read "In God We Trust," and then "Liberty" to an extent. However, the coin is in really nice shape, and you can even tell that it's a large date, 1960, which is, as useful as it can be for this type of error. Yeah, this is exactly what a late stage struck through cap die looks like, where you're able to see a lot of the design devices. This one right here sold for $15. The pictures weren't particularly good. They were very small. I had to blow them up and then crop them. Fortunately, the blown up bits were still in decent enough resolution that it was able to capture a lot of what's necessary for this particular listing. Oh, great. My dogs are barking. It's that time of the morning on Saturday. Yeah, this one is quite insane, and we're going to dispel a few myths as to what this could be. 1968S Jefferson nickel. Okay, so there's going to be a few things that people are going to scream out there and say, yeah, that's a struck through capped die. No, it's not. Big reason why is you have very strong peripheral design devices. No mushiness there at all on the obverse. Another thing that people have also mistaken this as is a die adjustment strike or pressure strike, where you have general weakness. That is very similar to this. The only problem is with a die adjustment strike when the mint employees are playing around with the pressurization and they're doing these trial strikes, they usually toss them out. But another diagnostic to differentiate a standard strike through like this compared to a die adjustment strike is going to be the proto rim. Okay, there's going to be virtually no rim on a lot of those examples because without the necessary pressure to strike up all of the design and to fill the die with metal flow, you're generally not going to have the strong edge strike that this particular example has. So what do we have here? This is simply just a major strike through. A lot of grease was on that die. Probably a fresh application by a U.S. Mint employee, and they do that to help lubricate everything. It's the same way that we change the oil in our cars, is to keep all of the major components working like a well-oiled machine. So, yeah, this is a major strike through on the 68S. A very nice detailed coin as well, showing very little circulation wear. This particular example, and keep an eye out for these exist through all denominations of a lot of dates, sold for $40.91. This is one major mint mistake where you could really cash in. The more devices that are very soft and mushy, the better of a selling point it's going to be for your coin. And this is, again, another coin that I've never talked about because not a lot of people have found this. It's a 1919D Lincoln wheat cent. The coin itself is in actually pretty good shape. I would say it's probably a good solid, about uncirculated level type of coin. It does have a little bit of a rim bump right here above Unum. But what are we looking at for this one that is noteworthy? Well, this is an RPM, a repunch mint mark. So we have a secondary D that's punched north of the primary. This is actually RPM number 1 on the online catalogs with like Wexler and all that. So yeah, this is a really good one. It's not in the Cherry Picker's Guide, crazy as it seems, because it's a very strong variety for such an early date of Lincoln cent. This one right here ended up selling for $149.95. I haven't quite told folks this, but always look at every coin with a mint mark because you never know what you're going to find. And one that looks as good as this example will most certainly sell for a lot of money. If there's not a lot of them in the marketplace and people do collect these, then they are going to earn you quite a bit of a reward when that time comes. All right, so this is the first listing I would say on the list. That is, the pictures are not that good, okay? And what do I tell you guys? Take the coins out of the holders, okay? It's not worth the trouble trying to image a lot of these coins when you're just going to have a lot of unsightly glare. It's not going to give you the best representation of the overall grade state. And with selling raw coins, that's kind of important. But this is a 2,000 piece sack dollar. And this is, of course, a coin that I love talking about because they are neat and they sell for a lot of money. And this is the Wounded or Speared Eagle reverse. It's got a pair of die gouges. This is actually a photograph here on the left-hand side of one that is not properly magnified, and it's imaged through the 2x2 holder. And I believe this one's also imaged through the 2x2 holder, but it's also shot through a microscope as well. So you're going to get two completely different, I guess, final pictures there. But yeah, check out that die gouge that goes right through the eagle's breast area and right near like the wing area as well. There's usually an accompanying second die gouge. It's a little bit shorter in size. The coin is actually in decent shape. If you're able to kind of, really focus in on the coin, you'll see that it's probably a high-graded kind of AU coin, probably AU 58. This example sold for $179.95. Kind of a one-and-done listing. It wasn't organically bid up to that amount. It's just someone came across it, go ahead and add it to your cart, and then check out. And that's exactly what happened here. If you're not in a tremendous hurry to sell these, that's always the best way to sell your coins. Throw it up as a buy it now listing, and it might take a month or two, but it'll sell. All right, one of my favorite coins of the last year is got to be the 2021 Lincoln Shield Cent with the large retained Cud die break. This is a phenomenal graded coin, and it's going to be a coin that's going to age gracefully. If you have these, you could still certainly sell them for $300 to $400 today if you so inclined. This particular example managed to sell for $365 with 17 bids, which is a kind of a far cry from the $500, $600, $700 they used to sell at through the first 30, 45 days of discovery. But again, another major error on one of the most widely collected coins. You're going to make sure you still look out for these, even coins that are less in desirable condition, because these things will circulate more as time goes on, and less BU specimens will be out there for the taking. 365 bones. That's a really good amount of money. Now here's one I've come across myself a few times. 1954 Lincoln Wheat Cent with a pretty good size strike through on the reverse. Probably a globule of grease and just debris. It was probably a hardened piece of grease to the point where it completely obliterated a lot of the design devices right where it was struck through at. A lot of United States of America is completely gone on there. This one right here ended up selling for $7. And again, condition doesn't mean a whole lot. If you could take really good photos and the thing's not like a super beater, then you'll end up making a few dollars. Again, take advantage of the market while it still exists. Any sort of correction, and coins like this will end up dropping like a rock. $7 today might end up being 50 cents to $1 tomorrow. But yeah, that's a pretty neat find right there. Quick little update, because these are all over the place. This is a 2013 B series $1 bill. It's a star note, and this is actually a duplicate serial number. So this is a Fort Worth printing. You can see the FW right there. These were printed both at the Washington, D.C. facility and the Fort Worth facility 4 years apart. The Fort Worth notes were produced in 2017, while the earlier Washington, D.C. notes were printed in 2012 or 13, somewhere around there. But the big selling feature is these are duplicate printed errors. You have the same serial number on a Washington, D.C. printed note, And the big collecting kind of direction for these is to find the matching serial number of both BEP printings specifically. And they're going to be worth a lot of money if you compare them up. And people are always on the hunt for these. So this one right here ended up selling for $29.75. A really consistent, very solid seller. These are found all across the country, not just near New York or on the East Coast. I found a few of these in California myself. So, yeah, they're out there, and make sure you're looking out for them. They have an extraordinarily high print run, so that's why there's so many of them out there in the open market. There's the back there showcasing the condition. Lots of circulation, some folds, and nothing too crazy here. Here's a 1992 Washington quarter. This one right here exhibits 2 clips. It's a very clean, crisp coin, very nice BU grade state, showing a little bit of the Blakesley effect, although the clips are right directly across from each other on opposite sides of the coin. This one ended up selling for $20.30. The more clips on the coin, the more it'll be worth. And always, always, always check out check out any group of Indian head cents, especially the low grade, kind of low rate type of coins that generally sell for under $1 a piece. Usually coin shops will have little boxes and buckets of these things, and they're always a great cherry pick for things like this. This one looks like a lamination, but you'll see it on both sides of the same area. It's probably more of a cracked or fissured planchet. So in this particular case, we're just going to use the generic term planchet flaw for this. But yeah, you could turn a coin that you have paid under $1 into something like this that ended up selling for $36.50 with 19 bits. So things like this with these planchet flaws and cut die breaks, which are a really, really good, easy find on some of these Indian head cents. 2 of my favorite things I like to cherry pick because I always know they're going to sell for a lot of money when I do post them. Now here's the I would say probably the biggest 2022 Lincoln Shield cent find. This is a coin that finally is attributed on the website Mad Die Clashes. So this clash that we see here that I've talked about, in pretty good depth here in the last few weeks, has been a phenomenal seller. Right, this is something that you folks should be looking out for. So we have really nice, strong clash dies. The dies had clashed together without any planchet in there during the striking process. So the obverse design is clashed onto the reverse die and vice versa. So any other coins that become struck, afterwards will showcase like elements of both the obverse and reverse on each side of the coin, which is always cool. And that's what I like most about clash dies, is they could be as wild as this. So this one right here is referred to as TDC-1C for 1 cent -2022-01. So the 01 means this is the first ever clash die that is unique on its own, that is designated by the website Mad Die Clashes. So it's cataloged, it's ready to go. And this one sold for $48.88. Like I had mentioned before, these are a consistent seller for between $40 and $50. This is really easy money. Now here's a rather low-ballish 1919S Lincoln Wheat cent with a pretty sizable detached lamination area on the reverse. Now there is a lot of mushiness on that lamination area, and this is a piece of the coin that had fallen off a long time ago, and this mushiness is attributed to just the simple recirculation over that area, because the lamination will generally leave sharp edges around the anomaly. This one is pretty well worn, but this coin had a lot of problems even before it was circulated. You could tell also the improper alloy mix. Some of that tin didn't quite mix in too well into the copper. This one right here is sold for $19.99 with 2 bids. Statehood quarter errors still going very strong. We have a 2000p South Carolina Statehood quarter. It's off center, I would say, by about 15%. These are collected by date and state, and that's why these things will continue to sell very good. This particular example sold for $25, and it's also a very nice high-grade specimen at that. Now, it's the first time that I've actually highlighted a piece of currency with an autograph on it. Now, this is what they call a courtesy signature. This particular 1976 $2 bill, by the way, one of my favorites, was actually signed by the Treasurer of the United States. So you have 2 signatures. You have the regular facsimile signature that was applied to the actual printing plate, but you also have the really real, legit signature by Miss Neff on there. So if you could somehow, some way find a note with both signatures, where you have also the secretary's signature on there, those are generally going to be a little bit more coveted. But just wanted to let you guys know that this is something that actually exists in great quantities, and these were commonplace back about 50, 60 years ago. I wouldn't say that they're unique or one of a kind. I come across them all the time, and they're constantly being sold online on eBay, and they're all generally graded. So it's refreshing to see an example that's not graded, and as a result, this one here ended up selling for $61 with 16 bids. Now, I don't believe I've talked about this one, but it's a 2021p Jefferson nickel. This one was actually dubbed the Scarface Jefferson by the seller, and I think it fits. This one is actually a pretty sizable die dent. Now, that's not a scratch, ladies and gentlemen, because that raised area, yeah, I already said it, it's raised. So it's actually in relief off of the coin. You can actually rub your finger across it and feel it on the coin. But a die dent, just something dropped on it. Again, another mint employee mistake. Could be a tool or something that fell on it, or maybe they had dropped the edge of a die on it or something. I don't know. It's all speculative at this point. But what sets us apart from the simple die gouge is just the size of it. The larger the anomaly, the more inclined that it's going to be an actual die dent, because it goes across all different types of relief on the coin. There's going to be areas that it's going to hit that's still going to show an impression on there. This one right here ended up selling for, $18.50 with 5 bids. Apparently there are a number of these out there that you can find. Now, we talked about the other cud with the reversed retained cud, but how about the one cud on here that covers a date? They're all the same date. This is just an earlier state of this type of error, and again, you can't miss it. It's a very discerning cud die break right above the date, and unfortunately, we don't know what the date is. A lot of folks have said just 1965 to 1998, because that's the actual date range of Clad quarter production. This one right here ended up selling for $71.16 with 7 bids. These are actually quite common, more so on the East Coast than anywhere else. Now, I love talking about this when they do come up. I probably see them maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months, but this is the 2016p Fort Moultrie. It's a South Carolina ATB quarter. You can see this pretty sizable strike-through area here. So it's like hardened grease and debris in that particular area that turns into kind of a crater on the coin. This one sold for $45.09 with 11 bids. These are still out there. This one's showing some circulation, so yeah, it's a pretty good return on this one if you could find it. And here's another South Carolina state quarter. This one's off center by about 15%, I would say. The coin, this one, however, showed some circulation wear. And this one, strangely enough, sold for more money. And I don't know how that can be because it's not nearly as nice as the previous example. This one sold for $33.95. Now, there's no error variety on this 1932D, but I wanted to let you guys know. There's kind of this threshold date within the Lincoln Cent series where nice, bright BU red examples that are raw will command a lot of money. So this is one of those dates that are quite scarce to find in mid-state red, especially not in a graded holder. This one right here ended up selling for $139.98. Another cut die break, this time on a Zinkin. All right, so if you got it, you probably want to sell it because Zinkins, again, aren't long for this world. They're a composition that generally would degrade with a little bit of moisture present. So, aside from that, this is a pretty neat error. And it's a 83 Philadelphia. You can see the cut there just to the right of Trust. This one sold for $42.95. Here's a Tuskegee Airmen strike through. These, of course, are on Philadelphia minted 2021s. Pretty nice shape, I would say. Nice mid-state example. It has the large strike-through event along with a little of the smaller types, and that's the one that's generally more desired. This one sold for $90. So still worth quite a bit of money. Not the $200-$300 like they used to sell at about, 6 months ago. But still a worthwhile find. If you don't need it, sell it now while it still has quite a bit of value. Now, this is the most ironic thing that I've sold on here. Star notes generally replace problem notes during production. So, how does this work? A star note is the problem note. It looks like a miscut. There's nothing misaligned here because the back of it's also miscut as well. But what's cool is this is like the top edge of the sheet because you have a little bit of the selvage. This is probably a crop mark or something like that for the cutting, but that only generally occurs at the top and bottom margin of the sheet. So a star note error. Oh, man, how's that work? It works very well for the seller and a treasure hunter that does find one of these. This one ended up selling for $91. Again, the condition is pretty well circulated, showing lots of folds and wrinkling, and this thing was probably balled up and thrown in a cash register someplace. But yeah, I mean, I love these ironic, the star note ironic notes is what I call them. But yeah, if you could find them like this, it's big money. So yep, be on the lookout. Again, showing the soiling and folds on this one for the reverse. And finally, we got to end off the PCMR on a big note, and 1857 Flying Eagle scent is just that, and one in which I would say is probably as solid, about uncirculated. It wouldn't surprise me if it was tabbed as mid-state, but this is a really, really superb variety. There are 3 known multi-denominational clashes. Sorry, that was a mouthful. That exists on the 1857. There's the example clashed with the seated Liberty $half, which is not this one. That's actually the most common. There's the one clashed with the seated quarter, which is what this one is. And there's also the one clashed with the $20 double eagle Liberty. So on this one, when you look on the reverse, boy, you're going to see some pretty strong clashing. This is actually the top of the wing of a seated Liberty quarter on the reverse, and this area right here is where the bird's neck goes up. You can even see the shield lines in there, and those are quite strong. There is some of the strongest I've seen on this particular clash. This is actually also a cherry picker's guide. They're quite scarce and valuable, especially the seated quarter and the ones clashed with the $20 double eagle. I found a few of the ones clashed with the seated $half, and those were a long time ago. And this one, really nice and really, really well desired. Again, sold by Coins and Cards, for crying out loud. And no big surprise. They are selling some just absolutely tremendous coins. Raw coins, might I add. They don't do graded coins as far as I know. This one ended up selling to the tune of $860. That's with 43 bits. So, yeah, not for the faint of heart. This is just a great example to own if you're not into grading, and a very strong example of this clash. But that's going to go ahead and do it, guys. A little bit shorter video today, less content, but oh man, just some really big coins that you can find out there today. Thank you, U.S. Mint. Keep up the crappy quality control and for giving us a bounty of just big, huge stuff to look out for. A lot of it selling for a lot of money. Yeah, that 2022 Lincoln Cent Clash. I wouldn't wait too long to look for those. Grab up as many rolls of those as you possibly can and then cash in. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Best of luck to a lot of you on all of your hunts for this weekend. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my video if you haven't done so already. My channel needs all the love it can get. And that's going to go ahead and do it. You guys take care. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you on the next coin video. So long.